All right, here's the deal, folks. This is going to be version 2 of a video I posted last night where I talked about white supremacy. And of course, anytime you talk about this topic, people go in their respective corner or they're walking around on eggshells. Why? Why are we afraid to talk about this? Now, the reason I'm redoing this video is because I wasn't happy with the sound quality. My voice sounded a little bit strained. I didn't want to come across as angry or frustrated. I didn't want to sound scripted or defensive because we're talking about white supremacy and I'm a white guy. You know, maybe I'll post another video talking about this video here where I couldn't decide which version to post on this video. That'd be great. We'll just make a month-long series of it. So I'll do 3 videos, trifecta. Last night's video, post this video, second version of the first video, then the third video talking about which version I was trying to decide to post. And then we'll do this month-long series talking about white supremacy and what videos I should post in my bathroom, what videos I shouldn't. Because you see, I have this issue where I record my videos in my bathroom, but I've got bad sound quality. You get a bad echo. Try to put a pillow or some type of insulation in there. But I don't have as much background noise if I do that. But if I'm doing my videos out here in my living area, living space, I have really great sound quality, almost like I'm in a studio, but really bad background noise. So I can't figure it out. No happy medium. I should invest in getting a studio. But you know, if you follow the series, you know, we do things on the fly a lot of times, and you're not going to get perfect camera angles. In fact, that was one of the issues I had when I posted. This is a thing that drives me nuts about YouTube. I'll post a video, right? So I'll post a video to YouTube, and I have the camera angle just right where everything's centered because I write out my graphics. But whenever I post to YouTube, it's always a little bit to the right or to the left. I can't figure out how to fix that. If you've got any advice for me, please let me know in the comment section below. And this would be a good time to mention, if you like the video so far, please click that like button, subscribe, hit me up on Instagram at hashtag JasonComposes, leave comments below, and you can reach me at Twitter, Voice of the Composer at Twitter. But in last night's video, I talked about this issue of white supremacy and how it's not this person. It's not this mysterious, all-knowing, all-seeing entity like a corporation where it's been hovering over the country for God knows how long, and it's just waiting to make a mark for its next victim, next minority victim. And everywhere you turn now, everything is being blamed on white supremacy. The shooting in Colorado at this King's Cooper store, is it King Cooper or King's Coopers or Cooper's King? I'm not familiar with the grocery store chain. All I know is that there was a shooting there, and they're claiming that the shooter is a white supremacist, even though he's of Syrian descent, which doesn't make any sense. Because how can you be of Syrian descent and be a white supremacist? Correct me if I'm wrong here, SJWs, liberals, leftists. But in order for you to be a white supremacist, don't you have to be white? I mean, that's what the term white supremacist means, right? And what is the definition of supremacy? As stated in last night's video, version 1, according to Merriam-Webster, now they use the term white supremacy, it simply means that one race believes that it is inherently superior to another and that it should have control over other races. And it can alternatively mean that you have the social, economic, and political system set up where one race controls another. But that's the basic definition or definitions of supremacy. And I also mentioned in last night's video that up to the time of the George Floyd incident, May of 2020, the SPLC, the Southern Poverty Law Center, used the term black supremacy to describe these ultra-right or far-right African-American religious organizations that believe that they are superior to other religions, races, cultures. And they stopped using this term once the George Floyd incident happened. Well, they should keep using the term because these organizations still exist and they're still engaging in some form of supremacy. So you can have black supremacists, Hispanic supremacists, Asian supremacists, you name it. It can apply to any race, not just whites. Which is the thing that drives me nuts about this whole issue of white supremacy. It's as though white people are guilty of sin of everything on this planet. Yet you have tribal warfare that's been going on in African countries for centuries. Other parts of the world. You still have slavery in Chad, the Sudan, Mauritania. I don't see these SJWs marching against that, against the black lives that are being affected by slavery in that part of the world. They're completely silent on that issue. I don't see them marching for David Doran, the retired police officer in St. Louis, who was shot by looters, these rioters, who were marching in the name of black lives. Okay, march in the name of black lives, yet you shoot and kill a black police officer, retired black police officer. Makes sense to me, doesn't it? And there was also this article, should mention this article again, from the NPR website, where they were talking about the KKK in 2014. November 12th, they published this article. The weekend before, you had the KKK and neo-Nazis that clashed, I believe, down in Texas over the issue of immigration. And you can argue that it was about race, or that was a driving factor. But they weren't arguing about who's going to be on top as the leading white supremacist in the country. They were talking about immigration. You had this conflict about immigration. And the article talks about, it's by Gene Demby, by the way, the last name is D-E-M-B-Y, talks about how the KKK in Montana and some other locations, but the KKK in Montana is starting to change its views, allowing more people into the fold. So they're allowing blacks, Hispanics, Asians. Now, I don't know if they allow Catholics or Jews. They've always been anti-Catholic, anti-Jew. And I've maintained that the KKK is actually a cult disguised as a fraternity. That's what I believe they are. Everything that they do follows the behavior of a cult. But this article focused on a gentleman by the name of John Abar, last name A-B-A-R-R, and he is fighting against what he calls the one world order. And he went on to say, and I quote, "White supremacy is the old Klan. This is the new Klan." And they were interviewing a Klansman down in South Carolina who talked about putting literature on people's doorsteps. That when they put their literature on doorsteps, they don't know who's living in that house. It could be somebody who's white, gay, black, Mexican, Asian, you name it. And if they were to judge people based on the house they live in, that would pretty much make them a racist. That's a quote. Let me read the quote to you again from the article. This is from a Klansman in South Carolina. I mean, we can't tell who lives in a house when we leave Klan literature on their doorstep. Whether they're black, white, Mexican, gay, we can't tell that. And if we were to look at somebody's house that way, or like that, then that would pretty much make us a racist. This coming from a Klansman in South Carolina. So what's going on with the Klan? Are they starting to change their views? Are they starting to be somewhat more inclusive? And then you had this incident in Kansas City in April of 2014. So before you had this article come out in November, and the weekend before that, you had this clash with KKK members and neo-Nazis. There was this incident in April, Kansas City, where you had a gunman, he was a Klansman, who went on a shooting rampage. And the KKK across the country condemned it, absolutely condemned the violence. Now, I'm not defending the KKK here, but this goes to show you that even the KKK has certain lines it won't cross. And then we have the Asian perspective going on right now. With Brookings.edu, they published an article here by Jennifer Lee and by Tiffany Hong, her last name spelled Huang, titled the article, "Why the Trope of Black Asian Conflict in the Face of Anti-Asian Violence Dismisses Solidarity." Starting to get dark here, so I'm trying to conserve energy while I'm doing this video. I love this time of year when you have more daylight, but then you forget that the sun goes down rather quickly if you're not paying attention. So I'm trying to read my notes to you as the sun's going down here. But this article is from Brookings.edu, and it's the Asian perspective of what's going on in the country right now with this anti-Asian sentiment, which I personally believe in a lot of these cases. Now, I may have misquoted this last night saying 99% of these cases are being carried out by African Americans. But the truth is, and I do apologize about that, I'll have to actually, I'm going to do a video about these statistics. That'd be a good idea. I didn't have time to get into that for this video. I mean, that's getting somewhat in the weeds, and you can only do so much in, a 12 to 15-minute video. But I wanted to bring this information to you and dispel this myth that, as I said before, that white supremacy is an actual person or that it's this entity. There goes white supremacy into the grocery store. There he goes, buying a cup of coffee, getting a car, buying a car, driving down the road. But when you actually go back and look at what's actually going on in the country and really how much of a non-issue white supremacy really is, but of course the media likes to blow it up because of these incidents, then you realize it's not what the media portrays it out to be. And that this is a pretty okay country. In the end, it really is. And you can get up and go to work every day. If you're a minority in this country, you can shop wherever you want. Now, I'm not saying that minorities have not been harassed in this country, but this article here from Brookings.edu is talking about this issue of conflict between the black and Asian community. Notice whites are not mentioned anywhere in this article. But a good percentage, large percentage of these incidents that are happening regarding Asian Americans are happening in these large left-wing cities. Like San Francisco, LA, Chicago, you name it. That's where this is taking place. It's not taking place where I live. At least not to my knowledge. If so, I would have seen it in the paper. I haven't seen any incidents in the paper. And I live in probably one of the widest parts of the country you can live in. So I thought I'd come here, redo the video, version 2, have a little bit of fun while I'm doing it, getting geared up for the weekend, and you can let me know which version you like best. Like I said, I don't want to sound scripted in these videos. I just want to be myself and have fun and really do my best to preserve our history and culture as Americans. As you know, that's the driving theme behind this channel. Talk about what it's like to write music as an amateur composer, so bring my expertise that way. Bring to light music by lesser-known composers. This is for those of you who are not familiar with the series. If you're clicking on this video for the first time, thank you. But that's what we're about. And this all started because I love writing music. And I wanted to start a YouTube channel. It didn't have a lot of resources. I said, well, I've had this thing sitting on my phone for YouTube to start a channel. Why don't I just start a channel talking about what it's like to write music as an amateur composer? Then it blossomed from there. Once we had this issue of them taking down these Confederate statues, where I had to come in and say something about it because that affects me as someone who writes music. I express myself through my music. We're talking about freedom of speech. And they were censoring the music of Shostakovich in Russia. They were burning books in Cuba, taking down statues wherever in these communist countries, you name it. So I decided to add that to the mix, and I kind of like that. So this is a place to come and celebrate what it's like to be an American, preserve our history, our culture as Americans, love of music. Now, granted, I'm not into rap music or let's say rock and roll, but I do kind of mention that briefly here on the series because they were trying to go after Elvis Presley. But I don't want to drone on and on about the channel here, but that's basically what we're about if you're clicking on this for the first time. So I have to say it again. If you enjoyed the video, please click that like button, subscribe, hit me up on Instagram at #JasonComposes, leave comments below. You can also reach me at Twitter, Voice of the Composer Twitter. I forget if I just said Instagram. So if I didn't say it, you can catch me at Instagram Jason Composes on Instagram. So I'll just say it again so everybody gets it. So you can like, subscribe, hit me up on Instagram at hashtag Jason Composes, leave comments below, or reach me at Twitter, Voice of the Composer Twitter. There, I got it out. Second version of the video didn't turn out as good as the first, but to hell with it. I figured let's just go ahead and do a second version. You tell me which version you like best, and I'll catch you next time. Voice of the Composer saying peace out. Stay safe, everybody, and God bless this great country.